Hello sports fans, welcome to Super Sports Central. Today we have my Week 4 NFL predictions. So last week I did not have a good week. I went 7-9, which brings my overall record on the season to 26-22. Starting off this week on Thursday Night Football, we have the Dolphins visiting the Bengals. So this is a tough game. I could definitely see the Bengals getting back on track with a win. These two quarterbacks, Tua and Joe Burrow, played each other in college. Tua suffered a back injury against the Bills, and he's listed as questionable. Jalen Waddle is also listed as questionable. I think the Bengals have a good chance to beat the Dolphins here, and even if Tua was 100%, I still think the Bengals would have a good chance. And with Tua most likely not going to be 100%, especially on a short week, I'm going to go with the Bengals here to end the Dolphins' undefeated season after a 3-0 start, and the Bengals will take this one on Thursday Night Football, 27-23. Moving on to the international game this week in London, and that is the Vikings against the Saints. So, this is a very interesting game. The Saints offense is very inconsistent, led by a very inconsistent quarterback, Jameis Winston, who's already thrown 5 interceptions to just 4 touchdown passes. And he's also banged up with a back injury and an ankle injury. The Vikings also might be without a star player in Dalvin Cook. Justin Jefferson needs to get going this week, as he had a great week 1, and then weeks 2 and 3 he was very, very quiet. The Vikings offense is going up against an elite Saints defense, and I could see this game being a low-scoring game. In fact, I think it will be a low-scoring game, but I have the Vikings escaping London with the 23-17 win. Moving on, we have the Browns visiting the Falcons. So the Browns have NFL rushing leader Nick Chubb and a tremendous second running back Kareem Hunt. So they have one of the best ground games in the NFL, averaging almost 200 yards per game and 5 yards a carry. And the Falcons do not have a very good run defense. That is a recipe for disaster right there. I thought about the Falcons getting the upset, but I decided to go with the Browns because of how dominant they are running the ball against a not very good run defense. So I have the Browns running over the Falcons, as they will win this one 27-17. Up next, we got the Giants hosting the Bears. So both these teams are shockingly 2-1. The Bears have had success running the ball, but they might be without David Montgomery for this game. But backup Khalil Herbert had over 150 yards last week, replacing Montgomery once he went out with an injury. The Giants' defense is also without one of their best run defenders in Leonard Williams, and that absence showed last week against the Cowboys as they were ran over. The Giants are also without one of their top wide receivers in Sterling Shepard, who tore his ACL in Monday's loss. The Giants are coming in on a short week, and I could definitely see that impacting them, but I still think they're the better team than the Bears, and I have them defeating the Bears at home 21-13. Next game, we got the Commanders at the Cowboys. So the Commanders' offensive line allowed Carson Wentz to get sacked 9 times last week, and the Cowboys' pass rush was amazing against the Giants. The Giants' offensive line also didn't play that well, but the Cowboys have a great defensive line no matter what. And their defensive line should dominate the line of scrimmage, so the Commanders should not be able to run the ball, and Carson Wentz won't have any time to throw the ball. Cooper Rush hasn't been terrible. In fact, he's 2-0 as a starter this season, 3-0 in his career for the Cowboys. And I have the Cowboys getting the win here in a lower scoring game, defeating the Commanders 22-14. Up next, we got the Lions hosting the Seahawks. So both these teams are 1-2. I think the Lions are the much better team here. The Seahawks have been okay with their one win over the Broncos. The Lions have the second highest scoring offense in the NFL, and although they're most likely going to be without DeAndre Swift for this game, they have a more than capable backup running back in Jamal Williams, and the Lions should win this one in, I think, very convincing fashion, as the Lions will get the win here at 31-16. Next up, we got an AFC South battle, and that is the Titans against the Colts. So it's a big game for being such early in the season. Neither team's impressed me so far. The Colts are a really weird team. They got destroyed by the Jaguars, but then the very next week they beat Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. They have not been very good. They haven't been able to stop the run, which is bad news for the Titans, because the Titans rely so heavily on Derrick Henry. Matt Ryan has not been that good for the Colts, and the Titans haven't been great against the run, so Jonathan Taylor should have a pretty good game, and I have the Colts getting the win here, as they will defeat the Titans 23-20. Up next, we got the Jaguars at the Eagles. So the Jaguars have been a surprise so far this season, as they destroyed the Colts and the Chargers and are now 2-1 in the year. Doug Peterson returns to the Eagles after winning a Super Bowl with them a few years ago. Both quarterbacks, Jalen Hurts and Trevor Lawrence, have been pretty good this year, and something to watch is how Trevor Lawrence performs against a great Eagles secondary. as it's a big test for a young quarterback like Trevor Lawrence, only in his second NFL year. So I think this is going to be a great game, very close. I think the Jaguars are going to give the Eagles a scare, but I have the Eagles coming out on top with the win as they defeat the Jags 28-24. Next up, we got the Jets visiting the Steelers. So Zach Wilson's been cleared, and he will make his debut for the Jets this season. Otherwise, it would be Joe Flacco against Mitch Trubisky, and that would be probably the most boring game of all time. But even with Zach Wilson for the Jets, I still don't think this game is going to be that good. It'll be close, but it's going to be a very slow, boring game, as the Steelers take this one home in a defensive battle, 17-12. Moving on, we got a Game of the Year candidate, and that is the Ravens hosting the Bills. So this is going to be an amazing game. In fact, I just said it could be Game of the Year. Both teams have their losses to the Dolphins, and this is a very tough game to predict. Preseason, this was one of the few games I had the Bills losing. The Bills' secondary is very banged up. They're without Micah Hyde, Trey White, and they also have other key players like Jordan Poyer and Christian Benford. We have the game against the Dolphins last week. So those injuries for the secondary is something to watch. But this should be a highly entertaining, high-scoring game with two elite quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. But I have the Bills winning this one, bouncing back from their loss against the Dolphins, as they will defeat the Ravens 35-31. Next game, we've got the Chargers at the Texans. So the Chargers lost to the Jaguars last week, and they have a ton of injuries. They're going to be without Joey Bosa and Rashawn Slater. Keenan Allen's set to come back, and Justin Herbert is questionable as he's still dealing with a rib injury. The Texans aren't really a great team, although they did beat the Chargers last year. But if Herbert sits this one out, then I do think the Texans actually have a decent shot to beat the Chargers. But I have the Chargers winning this one 24-13, and that is with Justin Herbert. Up next, we got the Panthers hosting the Cardinals. So Christian McCaffrey's been able to stay healthy, although he did pop up on the injury report this week with a quad injury. This is a battle of two former Heisman winners that both went to Oklahoma, Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray. So I can see this game going either way. I've seen a lot of people pick the Panthers, but I'm going to pick the Cardinals here, as they will come out on top 27-21. Next up, we have probably the biggest blowout of the week, and that is the Packers hosting the Patriots. So the Patriots are most likely going to be without Mac Jones. So Brian Hoyer will be the starting quarterback for the Patriots. The Packers' offense is good, and the Patriots' defense is okay, but the Packers' defense is elite, and I think the Patriots' offense with Mac Jones is no good anyway. And now they're facing a elite Packers defense with Brian Hoyer, their backup. So I really don't think they're going to be able to have any offensive success, maybe scoring 3 points. But this is going to be a huge blowout. The Packers will easily win this one as they will defeat the Patriots 34-3. Next up, we have the Broncos at the Raiders. These two teams have gotten off to bad starts. For their expectations, the Raiders are 0-3. The Broncos are 2-1, but two very ugly wins. For the Broncos, the offense has been brutal, but the defense has been really good. But I have the Raiders getting their first win of the season here at home, defeating division rival the Broncos 27-24. Moving on to Sunday Night Football, we have the Buccaneers hosting the Chiefs. So we will have a live watch party for this game starting at about 8:10 Eastern Time, or 10 minutes before kickoff. So this game may get moved to Minnesota due to Hurricane Ian, which made landfall today. The Buccaneers are getting Mike Evans and Julio Jones back for this game, so that should definitely help them offensively, as they were very limited offensively last week, only able to score 12 points. I think this is going to be a very good game, and my pick may surprise you. I'm going to go with the Buccaneers here, because I think their defense is better, and the Chiefs really don't have a ton of weapons outside Travis Kelce. And if the Buccaneers can cover Travis Kelce, then Patrick Mahomes really doesn't have anyone else to throw the ball to. And the Chiefs have also tried to run the ball more this season, but you just can't run the ball against the Buccaneers' defensive front. So I have the Buccaneers winning this one in a very close, entertaining game, 28-27. And moving on to Monday Night Football, we have the Rams at the 49ers. So this is another game we will have a live watch party for, and it will start at approximately 8 p.m. Eastern Time. The 49ers have been good against the Rams recently, but their offense was brutal last week, only scoring 10 points. Jimmy Garoppolo was not very good, and they're also going to be without all-pro left tackle Trent Williams. So I think the Rams are the better team, and I have them them getting the win here, as the Rams will defeat the 49ers on Monday Night Football by a score of 28-24. So, that's all for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Make sure to check out the community tab of my channel, where you guys can vote on who you think will win some of this week's games. If you disagree or agree, let me know in the comments below. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment, and I will see you in the next video.